Art is eternal. The first painting is said to date back over 45,500 years. Works of Picasso, Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Van Gogh, Raja Ravi Verma, and many others have stood the test of time, but it was no easy task. Paintings deteriorate over time. They are created using essentially incompatible materials, with each having a different reaction to the changes in the environment, including light, temperature, and relative humidity. This is when a conservator comes in, the technicians of sorts who work towards maintaining, preserving, and protecting art from future damage and deterioration.
In museums, you can find art of any type. There is no specific this can be displayed, but that is mainly related to the policy of collection in that particular museum. I had even seen artworks made from molten wax, made from sugar, etc. But generally, if you say artworks come from like paintings or illustrations, cartoons, maps, etc. And this can be of, for example, right now I'm running an exhibition related to mail art. So this also different postal materials, like even like stamps, it can be there in a museum collection. Now other stuffs are like you have print materials like lino cuts, litho prints, dry point, etching, all that kind of stuff. You have those. Then you have the different sculptures made out of different type of materials like terracotta, ceramics, bronze, metals, etc., other metals, etc. So these are other stuffs, and you have artworks from natural history objects like artworks done on say even with any dead animals, etc. I'm not speaking about natural history objects. It's like in some artworks you have some fur or something related to any dead animals. Sometimes you have these are like modern paintings where you involve that. For example, in Jackson Pollock's artwork, there was even a cigarette light. So you have different type of artworks, different materials might be involved. So based on these, the treatment or the damages that they might occur are different.
In the gallery, it's much easier than in monuments or in museums because this is a closed-end space. You have your air conditions running 24/7. You have people cleaning every nook and corner of the gallery. Artworks none of us touch, and it's not allowed to be touched by any public viewing as well. We clean it if it's required, but we try not to, make sure it doesn't get dirty. There are no stain marks on it, so we're very particular before it comes to us in our hands, and we're very particular that we give it to the artist back in that same form. If so happens, then there are always ways on how artists would tell us to preserve there, but we don't keep such arts in our thing where there's too much time or there's too much of responsibility taken in terms of taking care of them. They are varnished, most of them, or they have glass painting, so it's easier. So in terms of the gallery, there's there's not so much of process in terms of how you can maintain them. They're always in good conditions.
The conservation is thing which you treat and you will not get the other problems to the objects. And the restoration is that where they are the pieces which is been broken, and you will fix it to the particular place where you will not make it as it is, but you will show what it was. So the it can also be the restoration with the same material of the object, or the duplicate objects which will be created to show what it was. So this is how it depends on the object what you are restoring. It is like that. Any object which is there in a museum or in a collection,
say for example the cultural heritage objects, which might include arts or natural history objects, etc., can get damaged by the different agencies of deterioration, which can include environmental agencies, which can include external agencies, other external agencies such as biological agents, human beings, etc. By biological agents we mean like birds, animals, fungus, bacteria, etc. Then similarly it can also get, another thing is these are extrinsic agents. Other thing is intrinsic agents, like the way it is made, the particular art or the particular cultural heritage object or natural heritage object is made, due to its own factors also it can get damaged.
Here are few tools which we use generally. So this is swab stick, which is usually used for pointing out the thing, or just we roll this using cotton. We roll the cotton in the tip so that we can generally wipe off the dust which is over the very fragile paper. This is scalpel. We get different blades for this, and this is usually used to remove the accretions which will not spoil or damage the artwork, which we have to handle it very carefully. And this is a Teflon folder. This is made of bone. So this is used to flatten the crease marks, where we introduce little moisture and then use this very subtly so that the crease marks which is present, it decreases as such. And this is the German eraser which we use. So this German eraser is mainly used in paper conservation, where we use the tip to erase, and this is used for removing off the dust. And this is the lens which we use. So this has two different colors, which is normal light, and one more is the UV light. And this is UV light which we use to identify the imperfections in the restoration. So this light is used very carefully, as it damages the eyes also. So this is mainly used to find out the if the other conservator has already retouched, which we can find it out only under the UV light, where that one more coat of paint which fluorescence using this light. So these are the general materials which we use in conservation.
A lot of new technologies are being used, such as for example like you are using the laser technology for cleaning, etc. What happens is we generally used to do mechanical cleaning. That used to be one of the first steps that we do for cleaning of any art object, or not only art object, for any cultural heritage or natural heritage object. So this cleaning would involve like using the brush and all kind of stuffs. So softly brushing or softly wiping off the dust and dirt and all which accumulated on the particular object. There might be a lot of cases where the painting might have places where some tear has occurred, or maybe holes are there, or maybe some say for example bookworms or something has eaten up, right? So there will be loss of parts, right? There might be even infestation. Infestation means some biological attack. It can be fungus, it can be bookworms or other insects, etc. Even cockroaches and all that kind of stuff. So when an artwork or when any cultural heritage or natural heritage object comes to us with such issues where the biological infestation is there, we first, before going into all these steps, we go through the fumigation or removal of those agents. Okay. So in those cases we put it for any like chemical and steps and all that, where the fumigation happens.
These are the Mysore sketches we got. These were not stored in the proper condition, and these are around 50 years old. So these Mysore sketches were the preliminary sketches which they made before finalizing the painting. So this, when we got it into our lab, this had many folds and creases with few water stains here and there. So we try to remove the folds and creases by introducing little moisture so that the old papers get brittle over years. So we introduce little moisture so that it's easy to unfold and remove the crease marks.
Conservation field also developed step by step. We started conservation. I started that time on 15 years back. That time not get art materials. Now we get all materials in India.
So this is a field where you need a lot of patience. It's a field where you might meet a lot of different challenges. Say one example for me was during the 2018 floods. Hardly anyone wanted to work on the ground level, where we don't know what is the scenario, like whether the flood has receded, because TV was still blaring news about the floods and all. So that's one example, like people don't want to come and work on the ground level. And where there was a lot of cultural heritage objects which is getting damaged. Similarly in Nepal, earthquakes and all, these kind of things happen. So sometimes you work for your pleasure. You have to go and help people, help the cultural heritage sector. You might not get applauded anywhere and all.
An experienced conservator can assess a work, preserve and bring a piece back to its original beauty, all while ensuring its unique composition and artist's intentions are kept intact. Whether a painting needs to be cleaned, a sculpture needs to be reassembled, or an artifact needs to be repaired, finding the right art conservator will help bring an art piece back to its original glory.